hardcore gay butt sex. You want to see the gay butt sex? Maybe a little bit. That's the rhythmic pumping of gay butt sex. That's legit gay butt sex happening. Gay butt twink butt sex. Instead of having gay butt sex badge. And meanwhile, we're having gay butt sex wars. You're having gay butt sex?
And this is where I might get Delulu.
Huh?
Delulu? Delusional?
Motherfucker, hit the like and move on. Why do you feel like you have to have an opinion on every fucking thing that I put out? You have to be willing to sacrifice this idea of like one's own encouraged ideas of your own worth. Right? Like hitting the like and then being like, congrats, is unnecessary. Hit the like and move on. That's all that's required. You're going to change. It's going to affect you. That's why people are like, don't read comments. I'm like, bring the fucking comments. But if you're going to talk crazy out of context and for no purpose, I'm coming after you. Understand who I am, though, too.
Shut up, bald nigga. Shut up, bald nigga. Shut up, bald nigga.
You guys like fucking around? Well, I hope you like finding out just as much because many of you are about to.
Even if I found that, my dad left a negative YouTube comment, I don't think I would ever recognize him as alive again.
Those people are worthless and they deserve to be made fun of.
How'd you get banned? What'd you do? What'd you say?
I think it was, why don't you say that to my face? And then there was a comma.
The internet is full of schizophrenic psychopaths, dispensing their opinions everywhere in massive batches. Paragraphs on paragraphs of nonsense every day. Comments on comments.
Right this way.
Holy shit! Welcome everybody once again to Comments on Comments, the only internet show dedicated entirely to reading bad comments in funny voices and shitting on them, explaining what makes them so bad so that all of us can have a big laugh. Today I'm doing the show by myself, trying to see how long this show would naturally be without guests, because the first two episodes were incredibly long. I've also been working really hard lately, haven't had time to pen anybody in as a guest, but anyway, nobody cares about all that. I'm pushing Maddox further back into the show this time also. The last episode, there were 3 whole hours of me shitting on Maddox comments. We're still going to talk about Maddox. There's still going to be a big segment, but I don't think anybody cares as much as I do. I'm the one who Maddox is going around calling a pedophile all day, every day, obsessively for some reason. So I'm, it's my battle to go back and be equally obsessive and shit on everything he writes forever until he stops. But, I think everybody else will enjoy reading stuff from other people, other bad writers, more unique corners of the internet, stuff that's just more interesting than some has-been, bald, dumb asshole, who is scraping at scraps of relevance. Anyway, we're actually going to start with this example of what we do on the show. For anybody who missed the first 2 episodes, needs this explained, we, well, in this case, it's just me. I don't want to start saying we, because then it's going to sound like I've got multiples inside my head, like one of the commenters we're going to talk about in just a minute here. But our sample comment, I'll read for you. 3 cavities? That's hilarious. I've had at least 20 and a root canal. Brushing teeth is a waste of time, especially if you do it as often as they say. 2 times, 2 minutes a day? 1,460 minutes a year. A little more than an entire day out of your year brushing your teeth. Meanwhile, it takes about 20 minutes for a dentist to fill a cavity. Even 20 cavities in a year, 400 minutes. I had to read this one as the haver of the worst teeth on the internet. And I have had, I think, that many cavities and a root canal, so it felt very appropriate. Maybe that was a philosophy I had through my youth, was that brushing your teeth was not that necessary. Definitely not as often as they tell you to, but I've gotten better. I've gotten better about brushing my teeth. All right. I want to introduce you all to someone So our first segment today is going to be on a person that none of you have probably ever heard of unless you watch Caleb Hammer. He is a YouTuber who goes through people's personal finances and yells at them about what they're doing wrong with their finances. It is a great show. I really think we're living in the golden age of internet reality shows. It's reality TV I always hated because there's so much fakeness, so much obvious artifice. With the internet, there's an opportunity to get even nitty grittier, to get even closer up with even weirder people than what TV has tried. If you don't know about Fish Tank, I don't really have time to get into it in depth here, but it's a show about trapping 10 very strange people in a house and then just torturing them psychologically for 10 weeks for money. All of them sign up for it and they're very eager to be a part of it because of the money that they're going to win from it. But seeing the stuff that people are willing to like put themselves through, it's pretty wild, especially because it's done by Sam Hyde, who is like the most of a psychopath that anyone who's creating on the internet has ever been. So yeah, it's a really fun show, but I don't have any comments about Fish Tank to read. It's not a very literary show. You should go watch Cucumber Feet's Summaries. Season 2 kicked off just a week and a half ago, and it's been a riot so far. So you can go learn about that through those videos. But Caleb Hammer, his show is more like Kitchen Nightmares, like Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, but for people who are really bad with their finances, people who have let their credit card debt get out of control, people who just owe lots of money to lots of different places and are spending outrageously, and he looks at it and he yells at them. So on his most recent episode, he has on this woman, Amber. I put together a clip show here, a supercut of 2 minutes of Amber during the first 20 minutes of this show, because I was just listening to this in the background. I think Bird was watching it. I'm overhearing it, and I kept hearing things that made me go like, oh my God, I cannot believe that someone went on the internet and said these words. And I have some of her writing that we'll get into, but I felt like I need to introduce you to this person before I could really let you understand where the writing is coming from, what type of person is writing these things. So I'll let her introduce herself.
I'm Amber. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm 27 years old and almost a half. And sorry, my inner child speaking right now. I'm going to start that over.
In order to survive, you do have to exist in the reality of reality.
Yes. So what's been really interesting has been coming to terms with what you just said, reality. And I'm trying to get my inner reality to finally reflect on the outside.
So this is a person who, by her own description, has trouble keeping in touch with reality. And most of this interview, there's times where she's describing her situation in her life in very reasonable terms, and then starts talking about her inner children speaking and all of these voices inside that are telling her to, I don't know, I guess make bad financial decisions. And when he calls her out for, being childish, she's like, well, yes, it's because all these inner children inside of me keep making all these other decisions that I've ended up in.
That's an immature, childish thing to do.
It is.
You say, when you do this. So I know when children do that.
Yeah. I literally feel overrun once in a while by, in spirituality, we call them the inner children, the inner aspects. And I literally have been giving them everything that they want. They're like, oh my God, I'm scared to make money. The thing is that.
So apparently the reason that her finances are so bad is that her inner children are afraid of making money. So you might be wondering, how is this person surviving? This is an adult woman. She does modeling gigs, but as is revealed through this interview, she does them very scarcely, does not make that much money to support herself with them. And basically, well,
I've manifested a life at this point where I am taken care of so much by other
You
people.
manifested a life?
Subconsciously.
Okay.
Subconsciously, my inner aspects and inner children and teenagers, whatever, have felt safest when others are.
That line particularly sticks out to me because it's enough to be talking about your inner children, but then she specified that some of them are teenagers or whatever. Which really has me wondering, how many inner children are we dealing with here?
Supporting us rather than when we are supporting ourselves, because then it means we're not alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see a therapist?
I see many therapists, coaches. I'm also a coach to a certain extent.
Yeah, so another part of her thing is that she's like a life coach and she's trying to help out other people to like get their lives on track. Meanwhile, she is on a show about getting your life on track. This, of course, gets brought up plenty by Caleb. You know, I don't want to reiterate too much of what is just the content of this episode. I really am just trying to give you the slice of the person that I observed here. But I do recommend watching this whole thing. It is gold.
Venmo, what usually comes in through Venmo? Like, why?
It used to be sugar daddy money.
So yeah, sugar daddies, people who are just taking care of her. And there's a point in this interview where she starts talking about like business ventures that she has ideas for, and like all these basically these plans that she has come up with for how she's going to get out of her situation, that as she's being faced with the truth from Caleb, she's realizing that these things are not possible, that like realistically she's in a totally different situation from the one that she thinks she is, but she can't help herself but to try and describe the plan that she had. And then, well, this happens.
But I'm ready. I'm seriously ready to make the change. I have the pitch decks for these clients whose social medias I want to change up.
I want
have
that to
all
work
this
so
shit.
bad.
Yeah, and it will. But the number one thing, and this is where I might get Delulu.
Huh?
Delulu. Delusional.
Okay.
Will you hold my hand for a second? I need connection.
These numbers are making me ang gang.
Thank you so much.
Ang gang.
I love the ang ending of that clip. Yeah. So Delulu, a cutesy phrasing for delusional that I've never heard before. I've never seen a person who was so delusional but so self-aware about it. Like, the tone of this whole interview is like, I'm a problem. And then he's like, yeah, you are. And she's like, yeah, I am. That's the conversation for like an hour. Is like, knows she's a problem, knows she doesn't seem to be able to do anything about it. I honestly think it's possible this woman deserves to just be on disability, to just be taken care of by like the government, because I don't know how she could possibly survive. But nonetheless, the term Delulu comes from K-pop culture. I have not heard this at all, but you know, I don't listen to
Dog
K-pop.
attack.
Oh my god! Under attack by a Godzilla dog. Oh, did that really happen, or was that Delulu? I've been we're dog sitting. We're dog sitting out in Arizona right now. So nothing but time to podcast and look at big golden retrievers and also wonder what is going on with this woman. So, of course, I had to go find her writing. I was fascinated with this woman based on this episode. And I really want to be clear. I don't dislike this person. I don't think I would want to have her in my life because she seems like a handful. But I don't know how somebody like that gets help. I don't know how you turn that around. I don't know. I mean, if you already have a bunch of therapists and life coaches, I mean, maybe you need to switch them up. But let's go ahead and read what she does as a life coach. How does she try to inspire other people? What does her writing say? Mac and I left LA for an entire month, and let me tell you, it was life-saving. Don't we often get swept away by our city's cultural and social norms and forget that there are billions of ways to live life? LA can have you brainwashed into believing your self-worth is contingent on a number, on landing a role, on being the best, on being chosen. After living in LA for a year, I said see ya for the holidays and reconnected with family, Earth, God, and myself in Colorado, Florida, and Puerto Rico. There was still drama abroad, but it all led to growth because my healing work is paying off. So we'll stop at this paragraph. Boy, first of all, don't we, I don't know who, you and the army inside, or do you mean to imply the rest of us are in the same boat? Because I mean, I'm not an LAite. I don't live in LA. I've spent the last few months in LA, and I can tell you that I definitely see people who think like this walking around. You can tell when you hear bits and pieces of their conversations, and you think, what planet do you come from? How do people allow you to be this way around you? It wouldn't be possible in other parts of the country. So, I mean, I don't know where she went in Colorado, Florida, and Puerto Rico, but I have a strong suspicion she didn't go to well, I mean, there's not even first of all, Colorado, very rich place, mostly full of people from LA who wanted to move out to the mountains, somewhere they could smoke weed. Denver basically exists because a road was built through it to get to LA, from Chicago. And then Florida is where rich people buy, their winter homes, and Puerto Rico, as an American, I mean, maybe she is part Puerto Rican. I don't know her ethnicity based on the interview, but I don't know. I know there's lots of people who go there just to party and, and be rich people. So this to me doesn't sound like a tour of self-discovery. It sounds like a party tour. It sounds like you went and hiked and got drunk and went to cool places and, had a good time. But all this stuff about how LA brainwashes you into believing that you are a chosen one. Oh, geez. I mean, I kind of believe that that's true based on the way that people act from LA, but do they think that being there means that they're the ones who get into heaven or something? It's a very strange way of looking at the world. My awareness is at an all-time high. Last Christmas, triggers which I would have let erupt in a firefighting fire reaction were met with more understanding and love this time around, so I was able to respond better. Wasn't perfect, but it was much better. So in this case here, I was sympathetic at first, but when I thought about it, she didn't say that she handled herself better. She said that other people handled her better, and so it went better, which is good for her. But it doesn't really reflect self-growth as much as, you met some nice people. Remember that the way you're used to doing something isn't the only way to do it, especially if you're getting some feedback that the people around you aren't vibing with you. I'm used to being late to everything, but my family would prefer to get to a show on time or not miss our ferry to I don't even know how to pronounce this place. At 26 years old, I am not going to hit someone with that's just the way I am. No, sir, that's the way you're choosing to be. My personality is just being an asshole. Legit, I was told this by an old boss exactly a year ago. Clearly, you just like to be an asshole, and therefore, I would like to leave. This is, again, why I don't dislike this girl, because I think she's correct about the way she should look at herself, which is no, I am choosing to be this way, and I'm a pain in the ass, and I'm desperately trying not to be. I get that vibe, but I think she's so much of a pain in the ass that it's like Gap Moe almost. Some believe that we shouldn't have to change. Aren't you glad you learned how to use a toilet and you don't wear diapers every day? Aren't you glad you fixed that part of yourself that craved toxic partners or made you the toxic partner? No one has done that. No, not yet. You glad you have the option any day to incite a change which leads to a happier life in the long run? Make that career switch. Take that trip. Say that goodbye. Say that hello. Say yes. Say no. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do, not what we want to do, but you already knew that. So I vote that you heal. Go to that scary place inside, heal it, and the rest of your life will reflect the change. When you do, LMK, and we can all go rejuvenate in Puerto Rico, because we can all totally afford to go rejuvenate in Puerto Rico. I think she should start a rap career. I think when the motor really gets going and she gets comfortable writing words, it just turns into like a Dr. Seuss book. Of course, the immediate comments on this being people who have discovered her from Caleb's video. Schulzner Taylor, how's the budget going? And Working Winnie, faking a service dog is a felony. I don't even think I got that far into that video to see her faking a service dog. Here's some more. With fervor, I'm seeing a lot of my courageous friends channeling a lot of energy into calls to action because we are eager for this world's rebirth. She sounds like an anime villain talking about the rebirth of the world. She sounds like Sele. You have something to say to fan the flames? We all need you. Your POV, your neurological pathways, your ideas are as unique as this planet. I want to hear Jeff Goldblum or not Woody Harrelson. What's his name? The guy who plays the car in Cars. You know who I'm. Owen Wilson. I want to hear Owen Wilson read this. Therefore, there is a natural beauty and necessity in how you feel called to share your messages. This is actually kind of the opposite of what my podcast is about, which is part of why I had to read this. I was like, wait a minute. Some of the messages that some people send are wrong and bad. And this is something, again, Caleb touched on a lot with her in the interview. Like, how can you be a life coach when your life is fucked up? Like, how are you going to tell other people something that's useful to them? I think the best thing you can do if you're someone like me who's a real piece of shit and really doesn't have anything figured out and shouldn't be giving advice to anyone except on what not to do, you should just find people who tell you what you should do and then signal boost them. Like I'm doing with Caleb Hammer. Go watch that guy because he'll teach you how to live your life correct. Well, I guess we're kind of doing similar bits, but I'm not really giving corrective advice on how to write these comments well. They're usually so detached from reality that it's kind of hard to even tell them like what they could have said that would have made sense. Anyway, have ideas you want to spread but don't know how to online? Maybe you feel called to produce videos of you hula hooping while raising awareness of abuses of power. Maybe you feel compelled to do that. Hula hoop and talk about how some people abuse their power. What meaningful commentary can you make on this subject while hula hooping? She's obviously talking about like making a TikTok, right? Like, or I guess a reel, interviewing strangers on the street about their personal experiences with systemic oppression. No, never thought about doing that. Never thought about ruining someone's day by asking them weird questions while they're trying to get around. Stitching together gorgeous sunsets and voiceovering phone numbers to your local lawmakers. Wait, what? Stitching together gorgeous sunsets? Like, the fuck do you mean by that? And voicing over phone numbers to your local lawmakers. What context are you doing this? Like voiceovering what numbers? What are you fucking talking about? What is voiceovering phone numbers to your local law? What is any of that sentence? Did you hear this sentence?
No.
These are things that you might want to do, that you might find yourself wanting to do, such as stitching together gorgeous sunsets and voiceovering phone numbers to your local lawmakers. What does any of that mean?
I don't know.
You got to get all these dogs out of here. They're
just
gonna
helping
end the world. They're gonna destroy my reality.
They're gonna do what you did on the biggest problem in the universe last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, dogs.
Hey, my audio's still good, right?
Last I checked, yeah.
It's like, I'm not listening to your stupid podcast. ASMRing inspirational messages. I'm going to experiment with this one very soon. Oh boy, I can't wait. I think Caleb actually advised her to do this, which I thought was strange because I don't think she has a great voice. He seemed to. By the way, we watched some of her ads that she did, and like she is pretty hot. So like I understand how she gets some work, but her reads, her voice it's just very flat. I think she could do better. I think she could improve in that regard. I don't think she's necessarily wrong, like a bad fit to be a model or actress based on being completely insane. I don't think that's cap for that job. Filming GRWM to protest Zionism reels. I don't even know what GRWM stands for, if I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody can tell me about this, probably. Be creative. Brainstorm with friends and family who know you like the back of their hand. Experiment. Brain emoji, tornado emoji. Brainstorm. And thank the haters who comment because they're scared of your light. That's with a capital. Oh boy, because without polarity in this reality, we wouldn't know one thing from another. We need fear to know love. We need shame to know self-actualization. This is where I start really agreeing with her points all of a sudden. This is where there was a moment where I was wondering, like, is this going to be too heavy? Like, is it going to, like, this already, a lot of people are making fun of this girl unnecessarily, well, maybe not unnecessarily, maybe, but she's over here saying you need shame to know self-actualization. She even says we need hate speech to know kind words. She says we need hate speech. I don't even know if I'd go that far. Especially not to know. I think you can know kind words. Like, you don't ever have to hear hate speech to know that, like, thank you is a nice thing to hear. We need war to know peace. No, we don't. We don't need war. We don't need war, period. We do not need war. Accepting that, which I don't, I'm riled up and ready to play my part by sharing my messages to hopefully experience a world that will leave war in the history books. All right, well, you accepted that we need war, but also that we should leave it in the history books. So I guess we needed war, like we needed it to have happened, but now it's cool for it to stop. Our neighbors have known enough of that from us. And it's, capitalized U.S. So in this case, I assume she's talking about the United States. Missing Nada says, hates capitalism, yet buys the most luxurious goods and services while abusing systems set up for the lower class. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's her. Yep. That is my report on Amber. She is fascinating. She's fun to listen to. I would say, yeah, to answer the chat asking who is she, and the answer being a schizophrenic person. Yeah, pretty much. She's a schizophrenic model who found herself on Caleb Hammer's show. It was very fun to watch. She says a lot of crazy things, like that she's about to go Delulu. I can't stop thinking about it and saying it. Like, I've just been walking around being like, oh shit, that guy's about to go Delulu. Like, it's the funniest thing I heard this week. So that's why I had to spotlight her. I get the feeling that she will be back on the internet because not unlike Maddox, who is out there like asking the internet to find him a lawyer that can help him to try to put Dick Masterson in jail. I think like people who this includes myself. Like I've said a lot of crazy shit on the internet, so obviously I can relate to this to some degree. But like, I understand the feeling of being like, I don't know who to turn to or who's going to be able to help me with unfuck my mind. So I'm just going to keep telling everybody about how crazy I am until somebody gives me the right piece of advice. And I feel like that's what she's doing. And maybe Caleb Hammer helped, but yeah, Delulu, you'll see it back when this live stream is over. Go back and watch the Delulu clip, or again, go watch Caleb Hammer's video. All right, enough about her. Let's get into Weird Internet. Our first segment today, coming back. We didn't do one in episode 2. I was hoping that somebody or anybody would make me some jingles for these segments, for the named segments. I'm trying to rip off Carl from WATP here. Trying to rip off who are these socials and who are these podcasts and the Blind Mike Project. So I need some goddamn jingles and some better art than my shitty AI. Also, I didn't even mention that you can support this show on back-to-buy/comments-on-comments. What other podcast eats mushrooms? All right. Social Girls in Los Angeles. Can we talk about weaponizing of the laugh react? The weaponizing of the laugh react. Sorry. Didn't mean to imply that her grammar was that bad. I notice a lot of people here do it, so maybe I'm missing something you can explain. When you are having a disagreement with someone online or think their opinion is wrong, why do you laugh react to their comments? Strangers in particular. I personally don't see how that can be interpreted as anything other than mocking and bullying. If it means something else to you, there's a reason I and many other people interpret it this way. Anytime I comment on a public post that involves serious issues like transgender rights, political beliefs, EXC, I guess that's supposed to be etc., the randoms that come call me a libtard laugh react to my comments every single time, and this is the experience for most. It can be very triggering for people that have trauma from abuse or bullying. If it's harmless or trivial to you, something to think about from a different perspective. I personally wouldn't want to share a cringy online behavior with people who are boycotting Bud Light. Okay. So this person's problem, why they're upset, is that they use the laughing, crying emoji. And they are upset that people who bully on the internet are using it in a bullying context and therefore ruining their image of the emoji. Like, I'm not making fun of this comment for being upset with internet bullying. I understand. You get bullied, it's no fun. If you have trauma from bullying, don't post on the internet. Don't do it. I'm being as nice as I possibly can to you because you have trauma from bullying. Don't post on the internet. If this person sees this. It's an open... You're exposing yourself to everyone who exists, essentially. Potentially, I should say. You have no idea how and why anything you post on the internet could be found, could be interpreted differently. You just cannot predict what the things you say are, what effect they're going to have, how people are going to feel about them, how they're going to treat you on the basis of what you say. And especially if you're saying political things, if you're telling other people that their way of life is wrong, that in their mind is essentially bullying. So when you go around talking about things that you feel self-righteous about, but other people see it as like, oh, you're telling me that I'm a piece of shit? Well, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. And that's what they're doing to you. And you think that it's wrong of them because you feel that you are on the right side of the social issues, but they're never going to see things your way or treat you better. The best you can do is bully them back, make them feel stupid, traumatize them out of having their stupid opinion instead of letting them do it to you. Anyway, I don't think your opinions are necessarily stupid, except for the part that you think that these people using this emoji is going to transform how everyone views this emoji to associate it with bullying, even though you're using it in completely different contexts. someone who thinks like you, somebody who would make that association, is somebody I would bully because of the way that you're literally accusing, you're creating guilt by association for a smiley face, like a commonplace smiley that is used in hundreds of different contexts, but because it's used in one context you don't like, you're afraid of even using it because it could be associated with that one context. That's silly, we'll say, so that you don't go and kill yourself or whatever. By the way, I was on the latest episode of The Biggest Problem in the Universe, podcast that I've obviously talked about quite a bit on this Comments on Comments show, because it was the show that Dick and Maddox did together that created the big drama between them. It was gone for like 5 or 6 years, and then it was reestablished with Dick and Vito after Dick won the trademark dispute and got the rights to use the name. So, that's been going for over 2 years now. It's longer than the original show. I had never been on either version of the show. I've been called into the Dick show. I've been in studio for the Dick show a bunch of times. Had never been on The Biggest Problem except for during Vito's call-in show once. So I was pretty happy with my appearance. I think particularly the problem I brought in was really good, which is suicide baiting, basically saying that you're going to kill yourself was my problem. If you want to understand why it's such a huge problem, you should go listen to the episode. I'm pretty sure I'm still winning in the vote for having the best problem. So, All right, let's see what else is in this weird internet. On r/drugs. My roommate succeeded in giving himself auto-brewery syndrome by boofing yeast. So for the past 2 weeks, my one roommate... That's the whole sentence. Our attic one, that seems to always do dumb shit, has been using a enema system to supplant brewer's yeast into his colon in hopes of giving himself auto-brewery syndrome. Butt chug. Which is where the body produces... Produces, like I'm produces, pro having two anyway. Which is where the body produces its own ethanol for one reason, metabolic issues, or another, shoving yeast up your ass. Well, now he is drunk 24/7. Can't eat Brett or any sugar or he gets smacked. And he forgot how much gas yeast makes. He shit himself 2x today. All his shit is apparently like fire. Well, it's full of alcohol, so no shit. And his head hurts. I'm about ready to get the landlord to kick him out. He's run off naked on PCP, stole Dataracita thinking they were morning glory seeds, and now made himself into a brewery. I hope that story is true. That's fucking amazing. I don't remember how I came upon this one. So thank you to whoever gave me this. If you want to send me comments for the show, by the way, I've been pulling most of these by myself. I've got a couple of groups. I've got a Discord channel that is on the About page. I've been talking to people on Twitter, trying to gather more comments, but nobody's been really dedicated to the cause. I need more recruits out there looking for weird shit like this that I can read, because I would never have thought to go on r/drugs to find a guy boofing yeast. Oh, this is one that this is a unique one. So this is a DM thread that I got permission from both of these people to post, which is kind of, it's funny that one of them would have allowed that, but these two are frequent commenters in the Dick Show Discord. SPUS was trying to get a link to a stream from Lemon Saki here, and here's how he went about it. This person is like this all the time in the Discord. I think I might have to do a Morty voice. Oh, I won't suck your cock or nothing, but I'll make loads of empty promises if you shoot me the PKA link. Come on, bro. We're like best buds, right? This is by no means a very poor attempt at emotional manipulation. I'm certainly not projecting my thought patterns onto you and schizophrenically begging for free access to stuff that will be available to me in less than a week. And I definitely didn't just delete an 86-word run-on sentence that I didn't count. Look, the point is, I suck cock for quicker access to free media, and I really need you to do me a big one here for, like, mental health reasons or something. To which Lemon Saki replied, I would have sent you it without all this gay shit, man. I thought that was pretty fucking funny. SPUS, calm down. Calm down, man. Calm yourself. Just take it all down a notch. It's gonna be okay. The deleting an 86-word run-on sentence, that I didn't count, by the way. That's just a number. I didn't specifically count I believe you did because you said you didn't. Anyway. All right, that's enough weird internet. Let's touch in on Boogie. I feel like I've had one or two Boogie tweets for each episode. I haven't really cracked into Boogie I don't know enough about his history, and there's a lot of there's the big documentary about him, but I've heard that's not very good or realistic. He had too much of a hand in it himself. From what I hear, I don't know. I'll check it out at some point. But he tweets things that I go, you just could have not said any of that all the time. So he came out talking shit about Jirard, the completionist, which is a drama I haven't talked about at all on the show. Really, it's ongoing. It really exploded a couple weeks ago. I never really watched The Completionist, so I don't have a stake emotionally in that drama. Lots of other people are talking about it, and it's not very written. It's mostly video clips. So, but Boogie here decided to chime in about how good he feels about never having done anything as bad as Jirard the Completionist. So, of course, this person, Kayla at Unite Ireland, says, I guess I have to do an Irish accent. No, I told myself no racist accents on this show. The irony of this take. You're also a piece of shit and your girlfriend deserves better. Send her over, winky face. It's not the take I expected from somebody calling themselves Kayla. Boogie says, y'all out here thinking I did anything. No, that's too much of a Ralph voice. Y'all out here thinking I did any. God damn it, I can't read Boogie. Y'all out here thinking anything I did can even come close to $1 million in charity fraud. I don't mind being your big, scary boogeyman, but you gotta have the tiniest amount of perspective in reality. Absolutely insane takes from some of you. Oh no, Boogie spent his own money on crypto and hookers, then tried to keep that private? He also was dating an adult. What a monster. Spooky. Boogie, that's just what we know about you. Nobody assumes that we know all of the bad things you've ever done. We all assume that you very privately, I mean, if the things that have gotten out are so devastatingly weird and spent his own money on crypto is a very brief way of talking about not having paid taxes or all the other things Caleb Hammer talked about it, because how I found out about Caleb Hammer actually is just because Boogie went on recently and got hammered. But all the stuff about the hookers, it's more specifically the way he treated the hookers, the way he was having girls on leashes on all fours, walking around conventions in front of him. He does things that are beyond the pale of what any other person has done. So for him to talk about it oh, well, I'm so high and mighty, at least I didn't commit charity fraud. We don't know what you've done, Boogie. You probably shouldn't try to draw this kind of heat on yourself. Why even speak up? This is not your place to weigh in on this. You don't look like a better person by way of mentioning that someone else is worse than you. That's just not how that works. Two wrongs don't make a right. All right. Oh boy, it's Stuttering John. I wish Bird was here because this is really bird segment. You know, this is where he's supposed to do his Stuttering John impression. But I guess I'll have to do mine. This is from yesterday. To all of my haters, die. To the other 5 people, Merry Christmas. This is what has made John Melendez entertaining for me is this guy, he's an idiot. Everyone hates him. He's constantly fucking up. He seems to be aware of the fact that being like a really hateable heel is the only way that he's making any money or getting any attention on himself. So I do think to some degree he is deliberately trying to be like a stupid asshole, but he doesn't. I don't think he realizes how much worse he is at it or how much more hateable he is than like other people who are doing the same bit but aren't like fucking people over in terms of the law, you know, like basically being a Maddox, making mistakes that will make people really vindictive and really not like want you to be able to fuck with their lives anymore. So yeah, John, you know, I think this is funny. It's funny that he's acknowledging there's only 5 people, which that's a pretty high number for John. I think he's talking optimistically there. He's rounding up to the nearest half 10. But yeah, you know, the heel look is good for him. I think it works out. He's always talking, as we've chronicled on this show, about his Jeopardy answers. So somebody told him, Sheen says, I got 100% of the Jeopardy questions today. To which John says, it hasn't aired yet. And of course, LLD says, you know, it airs at different times in different regions, right? I watched it 45 minutes ago. No, he wouldn't conceive of such a thing. Oh, this is the one I really wanted Bird for because he was so creeped out by it. So this is a photo of all the wives of people who were on the Howard Stern show. John Melendez is saying, I still say my wife was the hottest. The problem is that John and his ex have been divorced for a long time. And so it's very strange for him to be going on the internet. They don't like talk. They're not like on good terms. And he's like bragging about how he had the hottest wife 20 years ago of the people on the show. This is kind of gross. Ekul responded, 43152. Which one is your ex, John? All right, that's all the Stuttering John. I was going to do this Eric July segment if I could have Riley on, but I assume he's busy with something else because I did not get a response from anybody about being on this episode. But we'll take care of that some other time, I guess. All right. Let's go to John Del Arroz and Doug TeNapel here. John Del Arroz, I'll probably have to dive into more on this show because this man is a conservative grifter comic writer who is always trying to have some kind of edgy right-wing take. He goes so far over the top that it's obviously fake. He just wants to create drama, so I'm going to give him what he wants. I'm going to point out that everything he says is stupid, and we can all have a laugh at it, because otherwise he's just spitting this stuff to, I don't know, I guess somebody must agree and just goes, cool, and hits like. But you missed Stuttering John.
I was going to say, I was probably really behind because I just heard that.
Yeah. No, you're way behind. John Del Arroz says, this is why it's time we stop saying, I don't judge what consenting adults do in their bedroom, and start saying, make sodomy a crime again. I mean, like, again, it's so over the top, I can't interface with this as a serious comment. Like, I could not imagine that this person thinks that sodomy should be a crime. That's preposterous. If he wants to try to defend this opinion, it would be, it would be pretty easy to make him look like a big old dumbass idiot. But I don't know if he would have the courage to back up such a stupid thing that he said here. So this is me throwing down the gauntlet with John Del Arroz. Basically, you gotta step up your game. You can't just go around saying dumb conservative bullshit. You just kind of look like a lol cow, especially with the nobody numbers that you pull on YouTube and Twitter. Like, come on, you could be trying a lot harder and making a lot more money. So let's do this dance. That's it for that segment. It's time to get into my favorite segment, Local Yokel Reviews, where we talk about bad reviews of places that I happened to be nearby to over the course of the last couple of weeks. Bird and I travel for work, so we're always all over the place. I can't even remember where we got these ones from. Maybe... no, it wasn't Calabasas. That was the show before this. I can't remember. This is a 99-cent store that had some funny reviews. And at first I thought some of these people were being unreasonable, but as I put together a patchwork of them, I think this store might actually be unreasonable. Anyway, here's Sergio W. 1 star. No price marked on shelves. Nothing costs 99 cents. Cheese puffs and others cost more than the supermarkets. Paid $3 for saltine crackers from Mexico. 2 2-liter Cokes for $5. Change your name to Pay More. Bought 4 items and paid $7. Rip off. I was entertained by this because he goes through everything he bought, right? So he bought 4 items for $7, 2 2-liter Cokes, saltine crackers from Mexico, and cheese puffs. He didn't specify what the cheese puffs costed. He just said that they cost more than other supermarkets. This is like a math game you would get in school, like you could be, oh, okay, so then the cheese puffs costed. The 99 cents only store, it is called the 99 cents only store, but it's, nothing is 99 cents. It's all things that end in 99, which is always the case at pretty much any supermarket. It's just the name of a store. I'm sure maybe once in history when dollar stores were viable economically, maybe they only carried $1 things, but it's funny to imagine somebody coming in and being like, what the fuck, Now, I could also understand expecting it all to be 99 cents if there's no prices marked on the shelves, and I do think this is a real thing that was happening here. Guillermo Milan said with 1 star, parking lot is a nightmare. It's worse than the streets in TJ. It's 9:29 p.m. Store closed at 9 p.m. and 1 cashier open. I'm still waiting in line to pay. Poor management. Store super dirty. So this person has been in line. This person got in line right before the store was closing and has been in line for half an hour because there was only 1 person working there. This is pretty normal for these little 99-cent stores. If you ever go into Dollar Tree, good luck getting out of there in 10 or 15 minutes. You're just going to stand in line behind an old woman, 1 register. She's buying all of her groceries there and one at a time, lifting cans out of a cart onto the counter. So yeah, you just got to count on that. That's just the way it is. Worst in the streets in Tijuana, though, is pretty funny. Margarita Van Dickhorn. I choose to read that last name as Dickhorn. I don't know how it's pronounced. 1 star. Thus place is a hot mess and the manager is stuck thinking she's doing a good job. Shame, it really is. The revolving door of staff who all know nothing. Management is horrible, not leaders, and it shows. Messiest store I've ever seen. I just thought the phrasing of this one was fun. Shame, it really is. All right, Jessica F. Local guide with 1 star. I think this might be the same store. Can someone make the employees here happy? Yeah, God, can you do something about this? Where is the management? The items and products here are to be expected, but the customer service with the employees are horrible. It's actually horrible with a period and then 5 exclamation points. I don't want to spill the story on what happened the last time I went there, but all I can say was the lady at the register was mad at the whole world and threw all my items all over the place. What? She threw all of your items all over the place? Did this really happen? I had to tell her to please be careful with everything and not put my food with the chemicals. Not good. Plus, where are all the carts? Management? Where are you? Wake up. A cart run is needed every 2 hours. This person's having a whole episode. I love how the local guides are always like the most intense, like manic reviews of these places. Threw all my items all over the place is a funny way to describe what sounds like just kind of, rapidly shoving the items down the conveyor belt, trying to get you the fuck out of there. My mom is very much somebody who will complain about the groceries not being bagged, like just so, she like sorts everything as she puts it up there with the expectation it will reach the bags in the same way, and an aggravation at it not happening. Personally, I put all the fucking shit into bags and then I bring it home. Cat C with 1 star. I think this is where we're gonna start talking about Weinerschnitzel. This is Weinerschnitzel reviews. These are fun because they're all so depressing. IDK, what I was thinking. Saw a bunch of people ordering. Thought to myself, maybe his change probably tasted good. All I wanted was an ice cream float and ended up getting a chili cheese fries because it's been over 20 years since I last had it. Now I know why I never came back to Weinerschnitzel. It just tasted so bad and bland and salty. It was cheap with a coupon, so why not, right? I was so wrong. Also, do not get a strawberry southern style tea. It was so bad. There's not much to say. I love that there's not much to say after writing like fucking 2-paragraph long review where you described every aspect of the experience of going to Weinerschnitzel in extensive detail, but also this weird like deflection of blame. All I wanted was an ice cream float and ended up getting a chili cheese fries. Like as though it like she was forced, like her hand was forced. She showed up with a coupon for the chili cheese fries, though. It was cheap with the coupon. So she went there to get an ice cream float, but she had a coupon for chili cheese fries. Did she also have the coupon for the ice cream? And she just ended up using both coupons. She was just mesmerized by the existence of the chili cheese fries, and having been over 20 years, you went to a hot dog restaurant and you got chili cheese fries and ice cream float and strawberry southern style tea. You got a sweet tea and ice cream also. Like this is such a weird meal to get because there's no filling aspect, but it's incredibly unhealthy. Like probably more calories than just buying it. Like if you got a meal with a Diet Coke where it would be like a hot dog and fries and a Diet Coke, I am sure that would be less calories than chili cheese fries, a Southern style tea, and ice cream. All right, moving along. Edward A with 1 star. Will not let you order 20 minutes before closing. Super disappointed. Hopefully that changes soon. Probably not. It probably means they're short-staffed and there's lots of places that just start their process of closing before the time that the store closes. The expectation is that they're open that late so that you can, finish your food and get out of the store. I understand it's a Weinerschnitzel. It's fast food. Maybe you're thinking I should be able to get in and out within 20 minutes. But, if there's anybody ahead of you and they're trying to get the place closed, don't fucking come 20 minutes before they close. If that's the only time you can go out for the food, go to another Weinerschnitzel, I guess. It's just funny to give a 1-star review based on not even getting to eat the food. I guess it really truly didn't suit your needs, this place, but dissatisfied with something they don't do. Alex C, 1 star. Well, here again, order cheese fries. I was going to give it a try, and once again, dissatisfied. Now in Corona, I guess they don't care. And don't get the fucking cheese fries at Weinerschnitzel is what I'm getting out of these reviews. Of course, this was her second review. They're threaded here on Yelp, as we've learned from this show, and her original review. When you want cheese fries, and I remind you they are not that cheap, you want cheese on the fries. Well, this is what you got. Hey, manager, can you tell your people how this is Norco for you? I want my Corona store open again. So she had like an awful experience with the cheese fries, went back, got them again, and then reviewed them with 1 star again. Nathalie R. I brought a banana split and I drove less than a mile and I got this. It was all melted. This is really disappointed. It's fucking... I mean... The only way this is possible is if you had it in front of your heater. Like, you can't blame... If you got the banana split and it looked correct. Maybe this person didn't look. Maybe this person did not look at the banana split at all. Didn't realize it was already melted and drove off. But like, if you were handed a banana split and you looked at it and it looked fine, and then you drove however long and it's now melted, you did something wrong. Your car's too hot. It's ice cream. You have to eat it right away. You're not supposed to take this shit home. You're really drive through ice cream. You park the fucking car and eat the shit before you hit the road, you know? All right, Samantha M, 1 star. Anytime I've eaten here 3 times over 3 years, I got violent shits. Will never go again. It also just kind of sucks. I'm not going to criticize this too much. You know, I've been back to places I thought sucked a few more times just to like really confirm that it sucks. But if I got violent shits from a place twice, I am not going back a third time. You know, violent shits me once, shame on you. Violent shits me twice, shame on me. Violent shits me 3 times, I'm not paying attention. Okay, everybody. That's the end of the local yokel reviews. We're gonna get into my own comments now. Whoa, comments people made on my videos. I like this one. It says, I just fucking hate you, from Agiga Herger. I like when they're honest. I like when they're straightforward. I like when they don't try to bullshit me with like a bunch of like what I'm doing wrong. They're just like, no, I just don't like you. That's a lot easier to deal with. Unlike this person. Highlighting this, Flintwood 4355 says, dude, with all my love, I am so happy. No, I am so happy for you that you have a platform to express yourself and produce content. Please keep doing what you love. That being said, I wish this shit was never in my life. I know I'm just shouting to the ether, but holy shit, I hope you can take more time to reflect on yourself and get your shit together. Much love. To which I responded, you could like unsubscribe or something. Why do you have this shit in your life that you don't want? I didn't do this to you. I didn't click on the video. I didn't invite nothing into your fucking life. You clicked on a video that had a very explicit like purpose. Like the video it's not hard to tell what this podcast is about. I don't even remember if this is on this podcast. Whatever video this on. You can tell what you're getting yourself into. If you don't like the product, stop engaging with it. There's people who just like can't bring themselves to unsubscribe because they have like this phantom of an idea that you're just gonna do something you did before again one day. It's not going to happen. You need to stop being Delulu and come to reality. All right, it's time to get into Maddox. This is another comment on one of my videos that I appreciated because it bridges this gap really well. Stalkers is a Maddoxese colloquialism which comes from shortening the word projection. Not really funnily phrased or anything, but, you know, it's true. And here's another comment from Arakiz666 who says, you know, I don't know how healthy playing a game of chicken like this with Maddox is. I feel like it's a giant waste of your time, but you do you, Queen. Yeah, I mean, maybe it is a giant waste of my time. That's why I pushed it to the back of the episode. I know it's not the most exciting part of the show because, again, nobody else has a reason to give as much of a fuck as I do about the fact that somebody who I was a fan of on the internet when I was a teenager is now going around trying to not only fuck up my reputation, but mostly use me as a bludgeon against my friend's reputation. It's very upsetting for me, but I think it's maybe too tertiary for a lot of the audience to care about. But we'll see. We'll see how intrigued you all are as we get into these comments. I'm also going to skip a few that I already gave to Dick on Twitter and he already covered on his show. I'm not going to redo clips that are already burned. But no worries, I have a lot of fucking Maddox comments. So let's go. We'll start with this email. This is from way back in 2014 when the original biggest problem was happening. I thought this was funny as somebody who does a lot of podcasts. It's called Yap, 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 Yap from Captain. Dude, do me a favor from now on. Count to 5 or 10 every now and then during these episodes. Just count to 5 or 10 seconds and see how long it's been since you've said something. This episode was painful to listen to because of all the interruptions. I can't get out a complete thought during some of these episodes, especially during my last problem. I couldn't even get you to stay quiet during a 6-second audio clip. You interrupted 2 times during a 6-second clip. Just relax, man. Listen during the Webby part and see how often you let me finish one full sentence. All right, I'm going to take a break because that's exhausting. So this is Dick complaining, no, it's Maddox complaining to Dick about how he interrupted him too much on the latest episode of the podcast that had come out. I think this is really funny because I get comments complaining about Bird interrupting me or me interrupting Bird. Bird complains about me interrupting Bird or me. Everyone complains about everyone interrupting everybody else because on a podcast, it's really hard to get all of your thoughts out. And if you're trying to balance your conversation with somebody else's, there's a good chance you're going to end up interrupting each other. Sometimes it's really bad. Sometimes people are overexcited. You know, I got upset at Vito on The Biggest Problem because he was just talking so much. There's no pause, no way for me to get in there. And, you know, the brief pauses he took, Dick had to fill in so he would be able to have had something to say. But that's what it is. If you want time, if you want to get in, interrupt. Just interrupt back. You know, like if this person's not giving you the clearance that you need, you got to take it. Or you got to stop doing a show with that person. There is no universe in which Dick Masterson was going to go back, listen to the episode, hear how many times he interrupted Maddox and go, you know what? You're right. I did interrupt you a lot. I'm sorry. He was probably upset with Maddox. He was probably doing it on purpose because he was pissed off with him. That's what I would do if I was in Dick's position. For example, when I was just trying to read one sentence of the best game nominees during the Webby part, I started reading the sentence. You interrupted with a tangent that took 4 minutes and 59 seconds to finish before I was able to finish reading that one sentence. I couldn't get to some of my jokes and content because it took so long to get through the list. It's hard to listen to when we jump around too much. I let you talk for 57 seconds before an interruption during your first problem to let you tell your story so you could paint a picture. You see what I'm saying? Could you please return the favor? So it's funny what I think it's very appropriate that his name is Captain on this email because he is attempting to captain this ship. He's attempting to be the one in charge of how this show is. But the show is always a 2-person effort. There was no reason that Dick should listen to Maddox about what the show should be. If they had disagreements, they were going to have to fight out those disagreements. And Maddox didn't want that. He didn't want someone else to have as much power as he did in the decision making of what he thought was his show because he's so fucking precious about his brand and about how this was going to be, you know, part of his identity going forward, which now it is the dominant specter of his identity. But what you have to do in this situation is to recognize what the show is and adapt around it. You can't try to force it to be what you think it should be if the person you're doing it with won't do that. You have to figure out how to make that show good, or again, to not do that show. But like, there's always people who are going to complain about the way the show is in some little way. There's always something that bothers you, especially if it's a long form show where you've got clashing personalities and they're trying to have something to say about every subject literally in the universe. Something about it's going to be annoying. There's going to be episodes that you wish you had skipped. You know, there's going to be problems that are badly argued. There's going to be just bits or ways about it that are annoying. But most of those things that annoy you are going to be someone else's favorite part. I've never minded interruptions in podcasts. I can keep track of what's going on. You know, like there's a point at which a podcast can become a clusterfuck and you can't tell what anyone's saying anymore. Usually more because they're talking over each other. But I don't think two people interrupting one another makes it difficult to follow. It just makes it frustrating for the person getting interrupted. And I think that some of the audience, that frustration rubs off on them and it makes them feel frustrated. But for some people, that's a fun feeling. Like, I enjoy feeding off of like listening to these guys like, oh shit, they're like about to get into a fight. You know, that's what makes the show good. That's the fun, the thrill. Whereas other people are like, oh, I want this to be more of a background noise situation. So, you know, I understand that they're both styles of shows. But Maddox is he's really barking up the wrong tree, trying to get Dick to change the nature of the show to something that he doesn't think would be better. He just didn't agree. So, you know, this was obviously not the way to try to convince him either. From Setsk Midkus. Oh, geez. No, I'm not doing this. This is too long. Maddox, sorry to hear that you've gone through something similar. Jepet86. I was too nice to a guy who was a failed comedian / rapper with a small online fan base. He became obsessive and created this delusion that I hated my husband and was in love with him. Since I rejected him, he's been on a smear campaign and harassing me. He's written humiliating songs about me and even made this movie where at the end, he rejects me and he blows my brains out. FML. I have no idea if this is real because it sounds like they're just describing what Maddox did back to him. It sounds like a troll, but Maddox says, WTF, that's horrible. I was also too nice to a failed comedian. Like, when you're trying to act like you're in this crazy scenario where like this psychotic stalker who needs to be put in jail is like running around ruining your life, maybe like being pithy and flirty about it with some chick on the internet is not the look you want to be going for. Makes it feel a little too casual, like just a part of your life you've come to accept. I want my Lauren says with first like 5 of those like praise the sun emojis. I can't believe you went through this. I have had small stalking experiences and they have paralyzed me. How have you been about to function? How have you been about to function during all of this? Maddox has always been about to function. Not quite there, though. Never quite gets started. Hope this puts an end to the hate and stalking. But regardless, really amazing graphics. There were some amazing graphics in that there Maddox video. Thank you, Lauren, is his response, of course. Always got to let the cute girls know that he's excited they agree with him. This one's also too fucking long. Here's his response to somebody asking to be removed from the 5,500 person list of names, Maddox's docked list of everyone who had ever signed up to be in the Dick Show Facebook group, which I will remind everyone was established pretty much right when the show started. That Maddox being made fun of only really became a thing after he made the Dick Lies video, which was like 17 or so weeks into the Dick Show existing. So it was by no means any kind of Maddox hate mob or whatever the fuck, but all 5,500 of those people, he says, are in support of harassment and of people hanging out with me. Oh wait, I mean pedophiles. That's what he calls them. Anyway, I've removed your name from the list, but it sounds like you have a long history of supporting bad people. For your own sake, you should do some reflecting and understand why that is. Maddox, you associated with Dick Masterson before anyone else. That, like, if you're trying to take credit for making him popular, which I'll remind you, there were people who discovered the old show because they knew who Dick Masterson was. He had been on he'd been on Dr. Phil, very famous appearance that had, he also had his website, Men Are Better Than Women. Like, I know people who found Dick before they found Maddox. But if you were trying to take credit for introducing Dick to the world, how can you then go around telling other people, like, well, you shouldn't associate with that guy. You did this, Maddox. You were his friend. You were his cosign. What the fuck are you talking about? You'll likely learn the hard way many years down the road, but you can avoid it if you do some self-reflection and, if you don't already, some therapy. This isn't me trying to gaslight you or call you crazy or whatever. It's something all people should do and something that all people can benefit from. Make better choices, man. You are literally trying to gaslight them. You're telling them what they're about in their own life and making judgments and assumptions about who they are and what they do. Just overall gross armchair psychology. Go vote it up. This person asked, this is just some weirdo saying, Maddox, I have some very important information to share with you about Fanboy privately. I have proof too. God, I hope whatever the fuck that is materializes in some form. Legit question. Do you think things would have turned out differently if it had just been left at creative differences? No, that's where I left things. Then he started slandering me almost immediately by accusing me of stealing the iTunes feed, attacking my sponsors, the rape list, etc. Did you watch the video? Watching the video won't help you understand reality. But yeah, he keeps insisting immediately. It's like it wasn't until you hijacked the iTunes feed, which in turn deleted all the old episodes of the show, and he's claiming he didn't know this would happen. Like, he's acting as though like, oh, I didn't know that happened, but if it did, I mean, I did upload the rest. I did upload them all on SoundCloud, which was like much later. So he's pretending like he never did anything and didn't just cause all of this in the first place. All right, let's get into some stuff he says it's not about the drama, so we can remind you that he's just a bad writer in general. Every time I read a news story about 3D printed organs, I immediately think, yeah, I guess I'd try one, before I read that it's for organ transplants. Of course, for organ transplants. I mean, what else would people do with 3D printed human organs? And then it's like a monkey, doing the like 1,000-yard stare meme. Is Maddox trying to say he wants to fuck a 3D printed organ? Is Maddox not just that he wants to, but that it was his first thought, like before he even realized that it would be? I mean, I know that's the joke, but it's not relatable. Like, nobody else would ever have come to this conclusion, and he doesn't he doesn't cross the line to make it like edgier in your face. You have to think about it, and you're like, is he talking about he's gonna like fuck the organs? Or I mean, maybe he'd say I'm projecting. He's like, oh, I didn't even go that far. You're the one saying that I was gonna, it could have been any number. I don't know what else this could be implying. Maddox, why do you always insist you want to stick your dick in weird places? Just that part of your personality, shoot that one. Get that one out of there. I've received so many apologies in my inbox, it's overwhelming. I'm making through all of them and appreciate the kind words, acknowledgement, and support. Making my way through these as fast as I can. This is in regards to my video. Yeah, we none of us knew what you were talking about, Maddox. It's just the only thing going on in your life in the last fucking 7 years. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's a prescient documentary about online mobs, smear campaigns, and the people enabling them. It's opening a lot of people's eyes to a huge problem. You can check it out here. The gall of this person. He's talking about how his call to action for someone to help him find a lawyer that could put someone in jail for bullying him on the internet is a prescient documentary. How fucking seriously are you taking this? Really, Maddox? Like, you can't think that this is something that like helps your case in like a legal sense of like being whimsical and funny about this whole thing. Bronchitis man. I saw a guy commenting on your videos saying that almost everything you're saying is false and that he could prove it. So I took him upon the offer and asked him to disprove a couple of points. He didn't. He later started accusing me of being Maddox. Turns out the guy has been posting about Maddox for at least 1 year on Dick's subreddit forum. Some people on these videos who are questioning Maddox are almost certainly losers from Dick's forum that have been gossiping about Maddox for years. Abject loser. Yes, people have been following the story for years. It's been an ongoing problem. People have known. People have been. Yes, it's a if anything a pretty famous aspect of online discourse in the last half decade. Yes, people have talked about it before they. I mean, there's a reason why they know that everything is wrong in the video. Because it's been talked about it so much. All right, I'm getting tired of talking about Maddox. Oh, yeah, he keeps releasing segments of his big video as individual little pieces. But, like, some of them are going to be different and not all of them. He said he was going to do Q&As that would be live. None of that has ever transpired. So, I don't know. He seems to be content to just type an endless number of words into the comments. It's a lot if I'm exhausted. Like, I know Dick already covered this one. So, yeah. All right. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I can't. I can't go on about Maddox that long. Nobody cares that much. Not even me. Not even after having picked up all those clips. This is about how long I was hoping the show would be if I didn't have anybody else on it. So, I'm good with us just calling the Maddox stuff there. I think I have a few non-Maddox things actually. Oh yeah, my top comment of the week, of course. We always end on the best comment. This is from the How to Recognize a Terrible Anime in Just One Episode video, which is still my most popular video. Still gets tons of views all the time. Lots of comments. It's where I pull a lot of bad comments from that I make fun of on, we did one on the last episode. But this was the best comment I might have ever gotten on this video. It says, I think this is a good tutorial for people who want to get into anime and not waste their time. I, however, have been watching anime since I was like 12, so I don't really give a fuck about whether it's good or not, as long as it's entertaining. And that's, obviously the opinion everybody should get to eventually is, you're just watching stuff to see if you'll like it. No need to hold it to any kind of standard. You'll know off the top of your head pretty quickly eventually. Nobody needs to teach you how. All right, that's it. back.by/comments-on-comments. I'm only supported on back.by because it is the only platform that each creator completely controls their own independent instance of, from which they can never be removed. And I'm like the only person pushing it, so I'm really hoping that people will jump on board. Otherwise, go watch We Watch Anime. We're going to be catching up on making sure that all of the backlogged episodes of that we've been putting off because of how much work we have are taken care of, because now we're just going to spend the next 2 weeks watching dogs in Arizona and podcasting. All right. Everyone remembers when I took that mushroom, right? Like that came on way too strong. So I'm ending the podcast. Goodbye.